Right, for this specifically for this, I have a Ethernet cable. That's a internet cable running from the router downstairs. 30 meters this thing is, and it runs all the way up the stairs, up here into the computer to make sure I didn't lose
a single second of
the
a
plot.
single damn second. Now I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi off just to check it's working.
Okay.
From the Rutan.
The Rutan is coming up the stairs very slowly. I'm picking up Sean's rage already.
You love the Rutan, man. Rutan clan.
Rutan.
Oh shit, no, save it for the show,
Doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you.
Hello everyone and welcome to the greatest Doctor Who podcast in the galaxy.
Galaxy.
My name's Richie. I am someone who likes to respond to the statement I hate Doctor Who with I don't think you've seen enough of it. So that's basically the concept of this whole show, where I take my friends who dislike Doctor Who and try and find an episode that they might like. Now joining me, if you've listened to this podcast before, these will be familiar voices. If not, say hello. Joining me are Gav,
Hello.
Gav Spence.
Hiya.
Hi Gav.
Hey, hiya.
How's it going?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, hi.
You happy to be back? Happy to be watching more Doctor Who?
Love it, mate. Like, you know, you've converted me. I shouldn't even be on this show. Love Doctor Who, man.
Have I?
Love it. Not boring. It's not boring.
Okay. And with Gav, as last time, we have Owen O'Donnell.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going, Owen? Have you watched much Doctor Who since we last recorded?
More than I...
More than I wish I had.
yeah, actually, I've since the last recording, I think I've watched the same Doctor Who serial twice.
Oh, right. Good. And for the first time ever, we have special guest Sean Cunningham. Hello, Sean.
Hello. Hiya.
Woo!
Somehow managed to convince Sean to watch some Doctor Who and come and talk about it with us. Sean, what do you do? Sean? Who are you?
I'm an animator, and I have an animation studio, and I make short films and stuff like that
Cool.
with cartoons and drawing. and all
Name one.
You can't look.
You can't look. He's made them up.
Sean.
I did it. What?
No, I was just about to jump in because I thought you were struggling. I was going to say Sean.
Yeah.
Sean's an incredibly talented animator, and he runs an animation studio in Dublin. And you also,
What's it called, Richie?
Sean, why don't you
Richie,
tell us what
what's
it's
it
called before I murder the pronunciation?
It's called Studio Mala.
Mala. What does that mean?
Mala.
What does it mean?
It means honey. It's the Irish word for honey.
The fuck does that mean?
That's why the logo's all yellow and gooey.
Lovely.
I'm a big fan of Studio Mala, and I know what I'm talking about. So
We're all big fans of Studio Mala. We think Studio Mala should get the contracts for animating those missing Doctor Who episodes.
That'd be good.
I think
I
they're
won't do
in
any
good
research.
What?
just, I'll do it. I'll animate them how I think they're going to look.
I'd get someone to summarize it to me in one paragraph, and I'd leave it there and just run with that.
Like, because this is the only Doctor Who you've seen, then no matter what the story is, it'll be Tom Baker as the Doctor as well.
Well, I've only seen this, and I've seen the one where there's like a skin with a face stretched across the thing.
Yeah, that's
I've
the
seen
best
that.
one. Yeah, that's
Have you seen the episode, or have you seen the meme?
No, I saw that.
Oh, okay.
I watched that episode. I don't
Every
know.
episode of Sean's animated Doctor Who series is going to be Destroyed Cassandra in a lighthouse. That's that show in the lighthouse. Yeah.
Imagine the lighthouse projecting the light through Cassandra's skin, projecting her face onto the sky.
That'd be good.
Like a really gory bat symbol.
She sees her face in the sky and says, "Oh, I'm needed."
unfortunately,
but I'm here.
I am a sheet of skin.
And I can't make it down these stairs.
No, that's a common misconception, Richie. Destroyed Cassandra can fly, actually. Because, everyone's like, oh, I'm not afraid of Destroyed Cassandra. You just need to go up the stairs. But Destroyed Cassandra, they've got, like, this little sort of jetpacks.
Yeah, they show it in is it one of the old movies? I think they do it in. Yeah,
It's just a common misconception.
Yeah.
Remembrance of Cassandra. So
and that slab of pavement that gave blowjobs.
So I was about to ask you, Sean, like, what's your knowledge and experience of Doctor Who before the one I gave you? It's Cassandra. I take it was that Christopher Eccleston, or was it David Tennant?
God, I couldn't tell you.
You've got him now. You caught him in his... See, that's the thing. See, to be a good liar, you have to have a good memory. And Sean's messed up here.
Yeah. I was glad to see that it was the scarf one that I was watching. Because I know there's the scarf one. So,
So you really are, like, flying blind on Doctor Who knowledge. You've got absolutely
nothing. I know there's a TARDIS. I know David Tennant is in one of them. I know the guy with the odd face is in the series after David Tennant. And
that's Destroyed Cassandra.
That's Destroyed, yeah.
Been in it for years.
I guess
and
over there in Dublin you're not quite as hit up with.
I know what Daleks are.
Great British institutions.
I used to do Dalek impressions like in school.
Really?
But I didn't know what it was. Yeah.
It's just Sean go around school. Do you want to hear my Dalek impression? Hello. Bring me the head of Doctor Who.
I've slept through a radio play in your car.
Oh, we all did. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
I wasn't asleep. I was gritting my teeth in anger.
It was a 2-part one as well, wasn't it? Blood of the Daleks.
And do you know when you sleep through a film or like a radio thing and like you're dreaming, but you can still just hear the audio of the thing?
Mm-hmm.
So I've probably built some Doctor Who canon from just hearing a radio in a car and dreaming something else. So.
Was that really only 2-part? It felt like a lot more.
The parts themselves were huge, remember? Like, how long was that whole thing?
It was like 90 minutes.
It's definitely not 90. We got from the south
many
of
times
Ireland
did you
to
listen
Dublin.
to it?
From Kerry to Dublin was the length of the...
No, it wasn't. No, it was a bit of the journey.
Sean's also having
I
Kerry
was
to
paused
Barack
for the
Obama
ice
Plaza.
creams.
Yeah.
all those dreams about Doctor Who and the B-52s. That's the only thing pretty much that was played the entire way.
Looking at the beautiful cliffs.
Yeah, Doctor Who meets the
sea crashing up
B-52s.
against it. Yeah.
Doctor Who meets Rush. So
me going the whole way down. Is this Rush? Really good.
This is some intro. As soon as the drums kick in, this is gonna just take off, man. 90 minutes spoken intro.
I really am like that horrible
Jeff Wayne's difficult second album.
I really am like that horrible fan that just pushes the thing that they like on everyone. I don't know.
I know, can you? I'm thinking about that. Like before, if ask your audience the same, put themselves in your situation.
Mm-hmm.
You're the only one that drives. So
Yeah.
we've rented a car. We're going from Dublin to like the south of Ireland.
Yeah.
And you're a Doctor Who fan. The rest of them aren't. Would you put on Blood of the Daleks?
Parts 1 and 2. I
Parts
think we
1
did
and
part.
2.
You know what? I think we did part 1 in one direction, part 2 in another. But
I think you're right. Yeah.
I think maybe I tested the water, and maybe you were all just really polite about it, and I was like, "It sounds like they want to listen to it. I'm going to put it on."
Sometimes you just like the misery of it. You know, you're just like, stick it on, man. It'll be funny. If it's really like boring, that'll be funny.
We put on 5 minutes of Joe Duffy Funny Friday.
I've made a terrible mistake. I thought I'd lock the enemy out. Instead, I've locked it in. With us.
They always said the beast of Fang Rock would be back.
An alien creature?
Yes.
Travelling through space?
Yes.
And yet desperate, you said. Why?
Devil is that?
The creature has got into the lighthouse. Now we must fight for our lives.
Doctor Who, Horror of Fang Rock, starts tomorrow, 11:40.
That's kind of cool that this is basically properly your first time paying attention to it, I suppose. So
it's the first thing of would be.
So normally what I do with these things is I ask what your favourite things are, and then I try and figure out an episode. But it's kind of embarrassing how tenuous the link is. But I'm going to go through it anyway. So I asked Sean for top 5 movies. Now I understand that this is a question that changes from day to day, but I'll just say what you gave me. You gave me Spirited Away. You gave me No Country for Old Men. You gave me Paprika, Koyaanisqatsi, and The Lighthouse.
I've only just made that connection now.
TV shows, you gave me The Simpsons, Evangelion, Gurren Lagann, Father Ted, and Better Call Saul, which gave me very little to work with.
Yes, Sean, for God's sake.
You like rubbish, Sean?
And I asked
why didn't you name Doctor Who? Then I might have known that.
I've got the thing for you.
I asked Sean what his if he was a doctor, what would his costume be? And Sean says my outfit would be a pink cap, denim plus sheepskin jacket, and massive pump up runners with Heelys in them. Which I think would be a good a t-shirt and a t-shirt that says Doctor Who.
I think, like, if the show goes on long enough, I think we're going to see that.
And it's going to be me.
I mean, to be fair, a t-shirt that says Doctor Who is not far off having a car with a number plate that says Who won. So
oh wow, okay.
They wouldn't do that though. Not again.
So from this, basically the Lighthouse connection, I was like, okay, Horror of Fang Rock. I'm not even going to cut. I've not even asked the Timelash guys to do a thing because I'm so embarrassed. But I decided to go for Horror of Fang Rock. Funnily enough, about a wee while after, when I realised that none of you had watched it yet, I was about to change my mind, and then Gav posted a picture in the group chat that he'd bought the DVD. Which was heavily unexpected.
I was on a group call with a lot of people, and I usually have a Saturday night group call, and a lot of them are big Doctor Who fans, and they all said, 1, it's brilliant, it's one of the best Doctor Who stories.
We've been here before.
And the extras are really good, and I should get the DVD. And it was £5 on Amazon, and I thought, Gavin, do it properly. For once in your damn life.
Did you watch the commentary then? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, I didn't watch it. I haven't watched the episodes either.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's dive in. I'll give you some stats first. Some statistics.
Mm-hmm. Yes! Does that have a sting of its own?
No.
How much asbestos was on set? Go.
So, Horror of Fang Rock is the premiere story from season 15. It was. It's also, according to the internet, it's story number 92. It was broadcast from the 3rd to the 24th of September 1977, and it was written by Terrance Dicks. I'm not going to go into the whole thing now, but like one of the things that struck me about Horror of Fang Rock, maybe more than other ones that we've done, is that it's quite nicely structured in the sense that every episode kind of almost has a beginning and an end, and starts, like every episode starts with something else happening, and it's about that. And so like the first episode is about them arriving, the second episode is about the folk on the boat, the third episode is about them trying to figure out what this thing is, and then when they figure out that it's like a shapeshifter, the episode 4, you basically get to see it, the monster more, and speak to it, and when it comes to an end.
Well, this is good because I haven't seen it, so.
So
you see it?
We're just going straight in with episode 1. One of the things that I love about Horror of Fang Rock is that it's a very cold, misty. It's quite cozy. Like it's got that old early 20th century, probably they reckon around about 1900 lighthouse. It's got a great cast of characters. I suppose things I feel like I should have explained to Sean, like, you know that every story in Doctor Who is like a closed set of characters and a closed story, and
No, but I mean, I gathered that much
okay
from just this, that I assume they just have the Doctor and the Doctor's pal.
it's
And
a good.
then-
I guess it's another. Also, it's a good way of it. Really hammers home that because by the time you get to the end of the story, everyone's dead, except for the two main
Well,
characters.
yeah. That's what I was gonna go into there. The only thing that I thought it was actually a really good one to jump into because like you didn't need much prior knowledge. The only thing that I didn't fully get was what do you call the Doctor's sidekick again? Is there like a
Leela.
general
Well, it's companion.
like what her deal companion? Yeah, I didn't know what her deal was and what. Like I got a gist of it, but
What?
she was the only thing that I didn't really get. But like it didn't really have any effect on enjoying the episode. So it was actually a good one to.
What did you pick up from her character? What did you think she was?
She's from another time or something.
Mm-hmm. So
She
basically,
didn't get stuff.
Now, come on, that's a bit of an easy pick, Sean.
She doesn't get stuff.
so like when we were doing the first episode I did with Gav here, we did Robots of Death, and we kind of
Hello.
went over the whole Leela thing. But Leela essentially was a member of a tribe who was living on an alien planet, but that tribe were the descendants of a crew that crashed, like a spaceship crew that crashed on the planet, and they kind of reverted into being a bit more tribal and a bit more primitive. And then she's now off. Basically, the Doctor took her with him, which is so. That's why she's got this very kind of like hard ass attitude.
Well, this is the weird thing because I found that with Leela, I'm quite enamoured with Dad's favourite Leela, and I think it's just a cool idea for a character because the Doctor's so passive in terms of how they deal with things, and she's like, I'm going to batter you, I'm going to stab you with this knife that I keep in my boot. And I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yes, this is a Leela one, because I really enjoyed it in the last episode that we watched, the Robots of Death. But then I looked up on Wikipedia like what her eventual fate is, and it's crazy. She goes through an awful lot, that character. I won't go into it. I won't spoil it because obviously we'll eventually look at all the episodes.
Well, that's the thing. Like they have eventually, yeah, they have this thing with like. It's a weird thing with old Doctor Who, especially now that you have like modern Doctor Who as a comparison, where like, you know, modern Doctor Who is very romantic and it's very everybody's, you know, very emotional and they're all getting halfway with each other and all that sort of stuff. But like old Doctor Who very much feels like the story is like I read someone explaining this recently, but the story, like the events, is what it's about more of the time, rather than like they don't really explore backstory of characters a lot.
I got that a lot when I complained
when
about this episode. Yes, from my friends, they were all like, I was much like Robots of Death and the Inferno, and I was like, I would really have liked even 5 minutes of what is the outcome of this? What's the aftermath of this death? You know, and every one of them was like, that's not what Doctor Who's all about, all right?
But I mean, I will say in its defence that like I think one thing when Doctor Who's at its best, it does world building really well, usually with just the odd bit of throwaway dialogue, or like you get the deal with the guys who turn up in the boat like pretty quickly. But also like I you know, to take it back to the first episode, I really like the cast of characters, and I recently just watched a documentary about fishermen and what like old fishermen from the past, and one thing I didn't realize is just how insanely superstitious they were, and and now that I know that, it was nice seeing it built into the story. But anyway, sorry, I don't want to talk about it too much because I want to hear what Sean. Like, what was your initial feelings in the first episode? Because when you start watching it, were you starting to go, you know, I could get into this, or I'm not enjoying this, or this is a bit slow, or...
No, I was totally kind of hooked in already, even with just the supporting cast, because I think you actually just, like, it was such a one-to-one thing to just pick. He said the lighthouse in his film, so I'll pick the one with the lighthouse. Because it totally worked. I was totally just like, yes, a lighthouse thing. Because I think just that claustrophobic drama with only, like, just characters that are stuck together in like 3 or 4 rooms. It's just great. So I was pretty on board with just that on its own.
Yeah.
And even without like knowing anything about Doctor Who, the fact that just 2 weird people show up and are just kind of curiously poking at things was just great. So I was really on board from the first episode. Actually, it's good fun.
Yes, Owen.
Just because you asked about first impressions, like a first time viewer seeing this for the first time, and how the opening of episode 1 would make you feel, may I just say, if this was the very, very first time I ever saw Doctor Who, and someone was telling me, oh, you gotta watch Doctor Who, it's great, and Doctor Who shows up and he's wearing that hat,
Oh yeah.
and it was the way he does, and he talking the way he does, you know, he's just like and he's wearing that hat, I would think, turn this off immediately.
Why?
Based entirely on the hat,
Right.
I would just think, this is not
It's not for
something
me.
I'm going to. This is
It's
not.
not alright.
You said I would like Brighton. Well, I do not.
Does this look like Brighton?
I do not know.
It's not even Hove. Could be Worthing.
The machine has failed again.
Oh, not really, not failed. On the right planet in the right time. Roughly in the right general direction. Assuming this is Worthing.
You cannot tell.
Because a localized condition of planetary atmospheric condensation caused a malfunction in the visual orientation circuits. Or to put it another way, we got lost in the fog.
The question I was going to ask initially was when Leela has to have a change of clothing and they find her a big chunky jumper, I immediately thought Richie must be loving this. This must be a dream come true.
I
for him.
have a note here that just says good jumpers, because there is a lot of
Yeah.
jumpers.
It's a good jumper episode.
I was
In a
hoping-
similar vein, Gavin, when I saw that jar of Bovril on the table in episode 1,
yeah.
I thought, Gavin must be loving this.
I'll love this. Yeah.
In fact,
I do love a wee Bovril.
you know, I've got my notes here, as you can see,
Yep.
and Bovril, you'll see, is the only note I have for episode 1. It's the only thing that jumped out.
Yeah, Bovril happens. That is a good one. That happens.
Bovril
I
happens.
was really. Who's the first one? I was just really on board with the main trio of the Lighthouse's little friendship. So I was just kind of getting disappointed the more they were killed off.
I know.
Yeah.
Poor Ben. Like, I feel sorry about like Ben at the start, who's like, you must have been like, I'm in Doctor Who. Oh, is that? That'll be 4 weeks' work for you. No,
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah.
dead inside
It's
of
like,
5 minutes.
also, the bodies, they're reanimated or something. So will I come back? No.
No, you don't say that.
No, that only happens sometimes. Anyway,
I bet he still did 20 years of conventions after it, though.
That's the dream, man. Honestly,
get him. Fucking get him, Richie.
that is the dream for me. A 15-minute role on screen
Drinking
in
some soup.
Doctor Who. Yeah, just doing something like I say 1 or 2 lines, and that's me for life. Going to like
Yeah.
the Kirkcaldy Comic Con. You know, I get 70 quid and my lunch.
I always really
20 quid a photo.
love the idea of being someone who was like killed really horribly and memorably in a big film. You know, I don't even need to have any lines. It's like I'm the first person who makes a dash for like an escape, and my head's blown off. You know, that's the ideal thing, because that's when you get to go in the cinema and go point and go like, look.
Yeah.
That's my head. That's my head exploding. Look, I
Yeah.
didn't really have to do too much.
Bringing it up.
But everybody saw.
I mean, I would think I would like a part like that. Like, generally because I'm 6'7" and a chubby man, I've been asked a few times to play roles in like films or friends' films projects, and it's always as a big bully bastard. And I go, that's not really me. I know it's only acting, but
I know,
the
you're
fact
so
that they
nice,
thought of me,
Dave.
the fact that they thought of me, always stings a little.
I feel like
but I would like to
you
play.
can even sell a bully, I feel like.
Shut
I
up.
couldn't.
I know.
You could do a good Frankenstein once he's mellowed out.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You know,
just wants to be pals kind of guy.
No fire, no
Yeah.
open flames, you know. You'd be good for that. You know, when Frankenstein's having a nice time with the blind guy.
Oh, I thought you meant he's having a nice time with that wee lassie, and then
Look, she taught the wrong lesson.
ultimately, you will pay the price.
But I did particularly enjoy. I mean, I enjoy how kind of like the young guy Vince, who finds the body and he's really quite upset about it.
Yeah.
But I also like he's very sweet, I think, and then but I also like Ruben. I love how like suspicious and just superstitious he is, and the line about how Ben died with anger in his soul.
He won't rest easy, you know, boy. If Ben was killed by that dang blasted machine, there'll be anger in his soul. A man that die like that will never rest easy.
I thought that was great that he just jumped straight to like he's an angry ghost right now.
Yeah, I didn't. Really...
Oh, he won't have gone to heaven. He's here and he is furious.
I thought it was so strange because when Ruben is like obviously suspicious, his friend has just died, and this stranger has turned up, so he's a little suspicious. But the doctor's just like literally says that like, "What are you going to do?" Like,
No, I know. Well, I think
what are you going to do?
I think it's one thing that I really love about because the thing about the Fourth Doctor, the thing about Tom Baker specifically, is that he just always has this air of like almost like he doesn't care. He's there, he's having a bit of a laugh. But I do love that line where he's backs to like Ruben's talking to him and he's backs to him and the camera can see him and he's just grinning all the way through it.
Yeah,
but he's like it's the line
just
like
died.
what are you going to do? Clap as an irons. It's just such a great.
I know that because of the nature of the show, you cannot dedicate a full hour of every story to everyone getting on board with the fact that this guy has shown up in a box. And so you just have to skip over that stuff, or that'll be the show every single time.
Yeah,
but
they think he's arrived on
a boat. It does leave you with a funny plot structure of the mystery is people keep dying.
Aye.
But this
guy's
nutcase and a clearly extremely threatening woman with a knife who keeps waving the knife in everyone's face and saying, "I'm going to kill you." Those two strangers have shown up and it's still like, what's going there's a beast out there.
Yeah, and the idea of just going,
what could be happening?
How did Ben die? Oh, he was electrocuted, says the doctor.
And the nutcase, once there's enough bodies piling up, starts saying aliens did this.
that was my takeaway for this whole thing, is that like having no other Doctor Who experience, just starting off with these three lighthouse guys that I got quite familiar with. I was like, these guys are nice, I like them, and none of them are alive by the end of it, and the guy who just showed up doesn't really care. It's because like I really saw, what's his name, the youngest one, like
Vince.
He was the kind of protagonist for me, just coming into this completely blind, like just treating this like one film, and it's just so funny that just like part way into it this fella shows up and just kind of ruins everything. No, he doesn't save anyone, does he? But
yeah, like if the Doctor if they didn't land there, nothing would have been different. They all would have still died.
No, he saved the world.
He saved the world, though.
Not interested.
They didn't though, because they've already been in the future, and like obviously the plan didn't work. So
there's
for our listeners at home, Richie is making a face.
I'm making my. I'm going to try not to explain this face.
Don't try and explain Doctor Who
the
on
previous,
a Doctor Who
I think
podcast.
it's the previous season. There is a bit. There's a good bit in the previous season, episode called Pyramids of Mars, where Sarah Jane says the same thing. She's like, we've been in the future, we know the world doesn't end. And he's like, well, let's go and have a look, shall we? And they go to the future and the world isn't there. And it's just like this idea that everywhere he goes, time is constantly changing and moving around him. So it's like,
oh, that's handy.
Well,
which in itself opens up a whole other load of problems, I'm sure. But hey,
I mean, that's why it's just the whole thing. I mean, that's the best thing about Doctor Who is that there's so much of it that if anyone tries to hit you with the canon, you know, this happened here, this happened, this can't because this contradicts this, you end up just having to go,
that's time travel, mate.
But Ed, I mean, I didn't know this actually until today, but the poem that he recites at the end, this story is kind of based on this poem because there was now what's it called? Hold on, it was written by Wilfred Gibson. It's called Flannan Isle, right? And the poem is about an incident where a lighthouse on Flannan Isle was discovered, and the 3 lighthouse keepers had vanished entirely. So like I think there was an earlier draft of the story where 2 people survived, and it's like, actually let's have it that everybody dies so that it's kind of like this lighthouse story from.
Oh, that's quite cool.
Which is why because I mean, I imagine most people watch it and the poem he says at the end, you're like, cool. I'm sure that's a reference to something.
As the music kicks in, everyone's like just, oh.
So track by Orbital coming in.
So episode 2, we get the boat arriving with the MP and the Lord and his secretary.
Well, I mean, we got the end of episode 1 was the crash.
Oh, of course, the crash. Yeah, the boat
Let's not
crash.
Forget. I've got my notes. I've got the crash was a bit underwhelming, and I know it's the 70s and Doctor Who, but I don't know what I'm saying. So that's the state of mind I was in at the time.
That was like the first of a few throughout the whole things where I go, that looked at, well, I suppose it was.
Yeah.
I know I think it's because the camera lingers on the shot for quite a while. It's like we've got nothing else to cut to.
Yeah, this is like
we're just going to put loads of sound effects of the hull cracking.
There's 4 frames of a hand coming in picking the ship back up.
So yeah, the posh crowd arrive, and what the other thing that I find quite interesting is that Ruben is massively suspicious of them all the way through episode 1, and then at the beginning of episode 2 he has this sort of sudden trust in them because now he's decided it was the beast of Fang Rock.
I think that's
he's
what
been
will
waiting
happen
for that.
when upper class people show up.
Yeah,
it was just immediately like, right, I've got a new enemy now. I've not got the time to distrust the Doctor. I'm going to distrust the upper class. Quite right.
Funny enough, I read a quote from Terence Dicks recently when he was talking about writing something else entirely, but it was in reference to another script entirely. But he did say, the quote he said, "People love to see rich bastards get it in the neck."
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
so it's good. And again, like, these people turn up and it's like they've been, I can't remember where it is they've been, but they've been gambling in France somewhere, I think, and they've sort of jumped in the boat to get back to England really quickly because Lord Palmerdale wants to get into the stock market and make a load of money. But again, it's that, like, a thing I love about it is it establishes so much so quickly with just a couple of throwaway lines, and you just sort of go, right, cool. That's what their deal is. That's where they're from, and they're all in their party gear as well, which is I quite like. And obviously, Lord Palmerdale's really rude to everyone and demanding brandy and all that sort of stuff. It's a very, very quick. It's like,
I said,
this
brandy,
is what everybody's.
Bovril.
This is what everybody's about.
Bovril is all we've got out here.
Was it? Did you say it was bad luck to have booze on the lighthouse, or was it just against regulations? Was it bad luck?
No,
I think
No,
it's
it was
just not allowed.
regulations. It was regulations.
That was regulations.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's regulation Bovril, that is.
I've got in my
I'm
notes.
sorry, it's my only note. So
My note at the start of episode 2 is that I wasn't sure that the Lord who came in wasn't the guy who died in the first episode. And then just ... everyone in the 70s looked the same except Tom Baker.
I was having a bit of trouble.
Really?
With just like that is that no okay that is a different person that is, okay, and like they do look completely different, but I was just immediately forgetting people's faces.
Very dark as
That
well.
was
And I
on me,
guess
I
you
think.
didn't really get a lot of time with Ben, did you? So
Yeah,
Do you not think
he's back. No, it's
Lord
not, so-
Palmerdale was extremely Matt Berry.
Look, I need some dry clothes, and I need them now.
All in good time, sir. Just give the young lady some soup, and I'll attend to you.
I catch my death of cold standing around like this.
You shouldn't be so impulsive, Henry.
When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it.
He's
Like
got
all the way through
good
it, I
voice.
was just like, he could be Matt. He could, like an unironic Matt Berry.
Protamanger.
But that guy, what's his name? I mean, we're jumping ahead a bit, but like, just speaking of just me forgetting their faces constantly, the one who I thought looked like the least important character ended up being the only one that was there till the end. I mean, he died as well, so it doesn't. The grey-haired
guy,
fella,
yeah.
He doomed them all, Sean, by cutting the...
Oh, he did.
Do you know what I really liked about there was a lot going on with that Morse code machine.
Yeah.
And it never gets used or anything, but something I really liked from the first episode was Leela goes to touch it, and she's told, could you not touch that, please? And as soon as they look away, she gives it a wee nudge. As if to say, I'll fuck it, I'll do what I like. I'll touch it if I want. And I was like, this character's incredible.
I know, she's good.
There's a line in episode 2 that implies that electricity makes you stupid.
Is there?
Yep.
What was it?
And I think if the last few years have taught us anything,
We have all started using electricity in the last couple of years.
Might have been onto something there. Maybe we could. Maybe if the Twitterati were on coal, we wouldn't be in the mess we're in today.
Doctor Who proves strangely prophetic again.
It wasn't from Ruben, was it? Because obviously Ruben spends the whole thing going on about oil.
Yeah, it was during one of the arguments about like, is electricity good or should we go back to oil and so on. So I don't like that. Electricity makes you stupid. I've been drinking electricity every day for a week and I feel thick.
Was that because people got electrocuted and die in the episode and you just thought they became really stupid and just stopped saying things?
Look at how stupid and lazy he's become.
Yeah.
You'd have to be stupid to get killed by
doing
electricity.
the lighthouse horn at all.
Just standing in a graveyard. These fucking idiots everywhere. Everyone's so stupid.
Oh, I enjoy the lighthouse communication system.
Yeah.
I want one of those for the house. I think that'd be lovely. Just spitting down it.
You'd like, despite the fact that everybody's dying, like the thing that I feel when I'm watching it is like, I'd love to spend a night at that lighthouse.
Yeah, I think it'd be a nice.
I like that.
I like long weekend.
I like to imagine, like, I think I was watching it. It's like I could imagine the smell of the room, the boiler room downstairs, and the coldness of the fog, and I really liked the idea of standing up the top of that lighthouse. It's all very nice.
Well,
but also all the chat,
biggest jumper possible,
and all the chat about soup. Really kind of brought
just loads of soup.
Loads of soup brought in like a nice cozy vibe to it as well.
Soup in a tin cup.
I've got a note here saying about a line, and this is a serious Doctor Who thing here. Is I've written down a line I enjoyed was when they asked the Doctor, "Are you in charge here?" And he said, "No, but I'm full of ideas." And I wrote, that's something that feels like very Doctor Who, and I bet all Doctor Who fans fucking love that line.
I was thinking that sounded like a Facebook banner.
Yeah, see, we're coming back to the hat problem I mentioned.
Yeah.
People tell me to get a life, but I just choose to have many.
Yeah.
And then a picture of Master Chief.
Yeah, exactly. Big minion.
That's what my Doctor Who design would be, actually. The t-shirt instead of Doctor Who would be that.
That's it. You're scared of me because I'm different, and I'm scared of you because you're all the same. And the whole
with the tribal tattoo.
The whole episode, you're just trying to read the t-shirt through his jacket, like, what's he's got?
He does.
So now I'm just picturing you going, it's like, are you in charge here? And he just turns around and says, people tell me to get a life, but I just choose to have many. And walks away.
I guess I think I've written down here that he seems to kind of try to assert. He's kind of alpha mailing it almost by just shouting at everyone, shouting everyone down.
That Rutan coming up the stairs, and he said, "Oh, look, some fresh XP." And then gave it a big elbow.
My favorite thing
I'm about to level up, and you're just enough XP.
My favorite thing about the Rutan is that, like, is when he's walking about as Reuben, and he's like, now I can abandon this ridiculous form. Yeah. And it's like, mate, that ridiculous form was getting you up and down the stairs faster than
that. I mean, this is the biggest thing I wanted to discuss. It's like, when I said I was furious, I was just shouting at the alien, just being like, you were better. You could walk up the stairs.
You walk up the stairs and electrocute people.
The Rutan, let's be fair, it looks like someone spat a sweet into a dog's bed. And it's just rolled around, gathering up the hairs.
That's in the production notes.
The thing was, do you know, it was in episode 2 where you get a little glimpse of it from the top of the lighthouse, and it's at the bottom just crawling
and
about.
it looks a bit like a jellyfish.
Like, I was like, oh, that must be just what the top of its head looks like. Okay, cool. And then you see it, and it's like, no, it just looks like that.
Oh, that's its whole thing. Yeah,
sort
of like a wet cabbage.
Even during when Tom Baker's in conversation with it, it does seem like he's trying not to laugh.
I've noticed there's a fair whack of corpse in that episode. Yeah. There's a lot of like grins breaking through. I noticed there's one, the secretary Adelaide does a couple, or she does one. She's meant to be upset, and then there's a wee.
Well, yeah, that's it. I've got my notes here. He's so jovial, and then he says, like, oh, we're under attack, and by the morning we might be dead, and he does a wee kind of laugh. And I was like, I wrote down, why are there other Doctor Who's? This is the best one. And then after a quick look on the Wikipedia, Tom Baker was a bit of an arsehole by this point, apparently.
Well, that's kind of the thing again that I love about his Doctors, that he asserts this distance from it. Because you know how that way again, like you watch. Don't get me wrong, I love Doctor Who in its many forms, but the thing I love about Tom Baker is he's so different from the modern stuff, because the modern Doctor turns up and he's like thinks everybody's lives are important, and it's a great message obviously to have. But Tom Baker's like, I'm an alien, I'm fucking better than you. And I'm just having
that's what you like, is it?
I'm just having a big laugh.
That's what Richie likes.
No, I can definitely see that appealing to a certain audience.
Yeah. Yep. Although
but he does. Leela, it's not like he doesn't care. It's just
Rick and Morty, isn't it? Same thing.
Is it not just Rick and Morty? That's a really good point, Sean.
Listeners, Richie's face right now is realization.
And the colour is scarlet.
Is it not just Rick and Morty? That's fucking... Oh my god. I do have the Doctor's glee written here, because he just seems to be he's just having a good time.
He's having fun.
I really liked it.
Richie's just desperately trying to clog it.
Yeah. Oh, he's like, he loves humanity. The one bit I thought was good though was when Vince goes to do something. He's like, oh yeah, I'll go and stoke the boiler or something like that. And the Doctor looks him in the eye and is like, good lad. And I was like,
Yeah.
even in an acting capacity where he had to say that to you, he was being paid to say that to you, I would be set up for life, I think, if Tom Baker looked me in the eye and just went, good lad. It's like, like when a nun, you give like £1 to a nun and they're like, God bless you. And you're like, that has to mean something coming from a nun.
Yeah, you bank that.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's so true. I felt that, yeah. When he said good lad, I was happy.
Yeah. He's saying that to me, kind of.
Also, there's another moment like that I enjoyed. The handshake after the diamond retrieval. You know,
that was very
just,
funny.
It just felt like a bit of a, like, yeah, we're doing it. I mean, unfortunately, it turned out that everyone was doomed.
Disposable.
And it was actually a false sense of security being given to him. But in that moment, at least, it felt like, yeah.
They didn't make a big thing of it, but Skinsdale did die because he went chasing the diamonds.
But that's bullshit, because the
Doctor Who
doctor
threw them.
got him killed.
Oh,
Like throwing the diamonds down, and it's like I know that they were probably putting that in as a message of like, oh, like he was so greedy, he should have just left the diamonds. If those were 10p, if that was a bunch of Skittles and just went like, fuck, I'll just throw them down there, you'd go like, well, that was off you. I'll pick those up.
Someone could trip on these diamonds.
Yeah, these are on the stairs in a lighthouse. You fall down that staircase, then you're fucking done. So I'm going to start picking those up. Oh no, I've been killed by a fucking blob. Thanks a lot, mate. I mean, I was shaking your hand a minute ago, but now don't think I'd even look at you twice.
What have I got here?
Anyway, episode 2.
I love when Richie has to check his notes. Like, yeah.
But it turns out, anyway, that Tom Baker, by this point in the production, was a pain in the arse to work with.
Yeah.
It was apparently running about trying to change stuff, trying to, really bad to the other actors. Horrible man. Just putting that out there.
So basically,
so when he threw those diamonds down, that was an ad-lib.
There is a story because like when Liz Sladen, who played Sarah Jane, left, and they brought in another companion, he didn't want a companion, he wanted it just to be the Doctor, and they were just like, no. Anyway, so he didn't.
Who would he talk to?
He didn't quite get on with Louise Jameson at first. And apparently, there's a story that apparently when they were rehearsing a scene, he kept coming in before his cue to upstage her. And then not when they were rehearsing it, when they were filming it. And then she basically insisted every time he did it, she insisted, we're doing it again until we get it right. And then they did it a few times. But apparently, that was the point that the two of them started to get on.
Okay. He's one of those kind of people.
But you're right. The other story as well is that the director of the episode, by the end of it, vowed never to work on Doctor Who again because Tom Baker was such a massive pain in the arse.
Brilliant. You should be a pain in the arse. You're fucking Doctor Who. The Doctor himself is a pain in the arse.
I mean, if he was aware of what the fan base was like, he must have thought they'll eat shit. And they will beg for more.
And they'll like it.
I can do what I want.
They'll eat shit and they'll like it. I'm Doctor Who.
Do you think the beast ate him?
What beast?
The beast of Fang Rock?
There's no such animal.
But Ruben said there was.
Leela, the people around here have been fisherfolk for generations. They're almost as primitive and as superstition-ridden as your lot are.
So episode 3 is about zombie Ruben, who at this point has been... Was it Ruben who got... this is terrible. Who got the backwards choke? Mind that?
No, that was the rich fella.
Oh, it was the rich fella. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think zombie Ruben is quite creepy.
Yeah.
See the moment, that smile.
I was thinking like, the bit where they break through the door. When she breaks through the door and they're looking through the crack and he's just standing.
Yeah.
I was like, if this wasn't like shot like a 70s TV show, that could, if you did that really nicely, like it was in a film with a bit of lighting, that would be an incredibly creepy shot.
Yeah.
But it's still very good. It's still but it's also still very good.
Well, I did like the kind of writing around that, the idea of like she was asking like, why is he's in there, and the doctor's like, yeah, but he's not listening, and then the idea that he's completely cut off, and I was like, this is a little creepy. I can imagine like being a wee guy and hiding behind the sofa, but you know, I was like, oh, this is getting more my speed.
Watching it on a tiny telly on a cold September night.
Exactly, naked as the day I was born.
Naked, save for a really big jumper, just drowning in it.
The other thing I've got written about the Rutan here is Big Sur Plume, so it's sort of very much in line with what Owen said about the.
It's good though that when I kind of worry sometimes, and because this is, imagine a Doctor Who podcast has a bit more of an international audience, and I was worried not to use any major like, you know, colloquialisms or things like that. But you know, if you're going to use Sur Plume, I will.
A Sur Plume is a type of boiled sweet. There you go.
Boiled sweet.
Some sort of jellied sweet.
A boiled sweet is a candy.
Boiled candy. Boiled, yeah. It's just sugar that's been boiled until it's very hard, I guess. I don't know how they make them.
I think we're in terrible trouble.
Do not be afraid, Doctor. If what you say is true, we must arm ourselves and post guards.
What about the others? They think we're mad if we start talking about creatures from outer space.
But we're from space, we're not of this earth.
Don't tell them that, whatever you do. What do you mean, do not be afraid?
There's some good back and forth between the Doctor and Leela in this one.
Well, episode 3 was an interesting one for me because this is where the video I was watching cut off. And I thought it was about to end. There was a minute left and I was actually halfway through the third episode.
Oh god, Sean, I'm so sorry. Basically what happened was normally when we do these, I'll either give them the DVD or I'll give them a BritBox login or something. But since Brexit, BritBox has been locked off from Ireland. Don't have access to BritBox anymore. Right. So I ripped the DVD and sent it, but I obviously didn't check it, and the DVD only ripped the first hour.
I mean, it kind of served the whole thing because I was in the edge of my seat. There was 2 minutes left. I was like, "Fucking hell! How are they going to wrap this up?" Like, the guy's walking around. He's a zombie. They're kind of just shoveling some coal at the minute, and there's 30 seconds left. I was like, "What's going to happen? This is the last episode."
Yeah, Doctor's just
and
like, "Look,
I was like, right.
There's no winning this. We've got to go."
Right.
It's a no-win scenario. Man.
Then finding out you got half an hour to go, that must have been I'm sorry, that must have been a hell of a blow. The other thing as well, the big moment in this episode is Leela's big slap.
Oh, yeah. She's got so many good moments in this episode, like a moment where she's testing out the sledgehammer as well.
Oh yeah,
and I'm like, the boys cave in my skull. It's incredible. Just end it now. But yeah, like that and the slap. I did like a proper like, ha.
Yeah, the slap's good. Yeah, no, it's apparently that's a real slap. Apparently the other actor was like, "Don't hold back, just do it."
Yes.
And she
I mean, I know they're playing up she's, you know, a delicate woman from the past.
Hysterical.
And Leela is tough, future tribal woman. But I do think it's reasonable seeing a corpse of someone you know very well being dragged into the room to say, "Oh no!"
It's very upset.
She says, "Oh no!" And she's instantly like, "Shut up!"
There's a real
You've lost control. Just throwing her out the window. Shut up!
It's so,
yeah, she's not
so
treated
funny,
with. She's not treated delicately. Like there's a point where she's going up to she's going about, and the Doctor and Leela stop her in the doorway, and he's like, "Get back to the crew room," and she's like, the pair of them is quite menacing. Like Leela's literally they're holding a knife or a sledgehammer. I'm like, yeah, I would go back to the crew room.
But again, Gavin, do not be suspicious of these two people.
Put your faith in them.
I know. It is funny that she's the one having the genuine reaction.
Worst time.
And the worst time.
Like Leela even goes so far as to cast doubt on her beliefs at one point, because the woman's talking about like astrology and stuff. And Leela's like, right. That's stupid. You're stupid. You should think about science. It's better to follow science than it is this rubbish. It's like, let her have something.
After that sentence,
I like as well during that exchange that the way it ends, it's Leela saying, well, that's not rubbish. You should believe in science, and there's no kind of, oh well, like I'll think about. There's no final. It's just cut to her looking kind of down, like just. I've been completely put in my place. I don't actually get to get another word in because you've said science is right. It's like, at least somebody take a screenshot and get that on. I fucking love science.
Another doubter put in their place.
You use the clip as like, look at this astrologer idiot being told by a cave woman that she's wrong. They don't even really discuss it at all. It's just like, oh well, I says no, that's stupid.
Yeah, shut up. You're wrong.
I arrived here in a magic box.
It's funny, you sort of wonder when you have moments like that, it's like, is that just the writer just having he's had an annoying conversation with someone who's gone back to his room and written a bit where he's like, he calls someone a fucking idiot for believing in astrology.
Well, it did make me think, who is this for? This little
like
bit.
he's been sitting over having breakfast with his wife, and his wife says, okay, it says today that you're going to come into some...
fucking shut up!
Get a rest. And he goes upstairs and immediately stays.
You're talking about Mrs. Dix.
Yes.
Is there a Mrs. Dix? The only other thing I do have on my notes is fantastic eyebrow work from Baker in this episode. Watch out for it.
But yeah, no. But again, like I said, I like the Leela Doctor back and forth about when he's running upstairs and says, "Come on, savage," or the line about just the very quiet line about the malicious damage activating 61 covers lighthouses. She's like, what?
Well, what is it she says? Did she not say something wrong at one point and he corrects her?
The generator's working. I wonder what's happening to the power.
I'm not a technician.
It could be shorting out, I suppose.
And I suppose you are going to mend it?
What? Without asking permission? I wouldn't dream of it. Let's talk to the crew first. This way. Technician.
He's going upstairs and he's like, technician?
It's great. I love all that shit. I love it so much. It feels a bit more like, again, like it really hammers home this idea of the two of them just like, they're just having a good time
amongst all this death.
But that is the thing. That is the thing. Like about that period of Doctor Who is like, even though people are dying all over the place, everyone, like, your main characters are having a good time. It's like by the time you get to the 80s and it gets like, everyone thinks it should be dark, and then you're just like, everyone's having a really terrible time. Why are they staying with him? And even at one point, like, one of the companions at the end of the episode goes, you know what, I'm not enjoying this, so I'm going to go.
Yeah. Just drop me off here.
Yeah, basically.
This is fine. I'll walk from here.
But this is 1802. I promise you that it's not great out there. It's better than this.
It's better than that.
I haven't even told you what country we're in. Just open the door.
Just over the ocean. You're like, just let me out here.
Just open the door here.
Take me to WrestleMania, man.
Take me to WrestleMania.
Doing the texture thing is like, look, whatever I owe you is yours, but I'm gonna hop out here.
I love the idea of Gav being the Doctor's companion and making the Doctor take him to all the toy shops in Dublin.
I'm going to Dublin City Comic, and then I'm like, take me to WrestleMania.
Like the shop's being close enough that the TARDIS doesn't fade and appear at the next one. It just has to float gently a couple of feet down.
Look, I'm sorry, man. Like, I'm sorry I had to drag you to Dublin City Comics every time we go. I'm sorry that I love something.
Like using the TARDIS as a tuk-tuk. Just getting around a few blocks.
I did like that in this one that the TARDIS was basically a few meters over there for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And just at any point she could have been like, no, I'll just wait. I'll wait in there.
Why don't we get everyone in the TARDIS where it's like it's an impregnable thing, and then we're safe?
Is that a rule, Richie, in Doctor Who? Like he can't
take people away with
put
them.
anyone else in the TARDIS? Is that like breaking the time rules or something?
I'm sure there's probably been. I mean, like I remember when Stephen Moffat was on Twitter. I remember a tweet that he did. It's like the eternal curse of the Doctor Who writer is like, why don't you just get back in the TARDIS and go?
Well, that was my question.
My favourite Doctor Who thing is when the Doctor realises something and runs to the TARDIS.
And just goes.
It's a time machine.
Yeah.
Like you can have a cup of tea and then get in it. It's just like when he realised, like, oh my god, I have to go to the year 5000. Like, don't worry about it. You can do it a week from now. What if the end of the episode was they head back to the TARDIS and it's not there, and he goes, oh, I guess
we live here now.
just got in and
fucked off. Like even at the end.
God, I wish everyone in that lighthouse wasn't fucking dead.
There's nothing I can do about that though. With my time machine, even though I did cause some of these deaths.
Richie, do you enjoy doing this podcast with us?
I do. It's good. It's good fun. I'm hoping that people like. I hope that people who watch the show like me. I know there are people because, I talk to these people and have fun with them, and we all have the same sense of humor about it. I feel like we can look at its inconsistencies and daft things like that, but also I feel like the people that write the show are always trying to come up with daft reasons why that. Like again, the new series of Doctor Who had that whole thing about like you can't cross your own timeline, so you can't go back, right. And then
so you couldn't go back and save those people even if you wanted to.
No, because it would be a paradox or something, something like that.
What if he just went
back
before when he arrived and then left a machine gun?
They'll know what to do.
Maybe just lands the TARDIS on the Rutan.
No, the Rutan would just see the machine gun on the ground and go, oh god,
they've got machinies.
The machine gun has Who on it because of course Doctor Who just has to put Who on everything.
And the Rutan's like, oh no, Doctor Who's coming.
If lost, return to Doctor Who, it says on it.
It's funny that at the end of the episode they have the line, the dramatic moment where Tom Baker realises that the Rutan can change form.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he pronounces it the chameleon factor.
And
I'm like, you had to go at Leela earlier for saying technician.
Look,
I just thought that was just a Doctor Who word that I didn't.
Oh, right.
yeah, I thought it was an alien called like who would but it was called like a chameleon.
Chameleons.
Yeah, those bloody chameleons again.
But also he said lycanthropy, but isn't lycanthropy turning into an animal or a wolf?
Well, I did the same when you said Horror at Fang Rock, Horror at Fraggle Rock. I said this is going to be about werewolves or vampires, and I was super into the idea. And then it was just a big slimy cabbage.
Do you know that the episode was written like really last minute to replace a vampire story because they had to. They were opening the season with a vampire story, and then the head of drama or something at the BBC said you can't do that because we're literally about to put a TV version of Dracula on.
Okay.
So you're gonna have to do something else. And so like
I heard
last
a different
minute.
story.
What?
I heard it was supposed to be a vampire story, but when the prop department opened up the box, the delivery box, it was a slimy cabbage. And it's like, right, you've got 20 minutes to rewrite this script and replace all the vampires with a slimy cabbage.
And this was
This box
before.
was meant to have a whole vampire in it.
This was before they had like find and replace or anything like that. So they had to do it all by hand.
Okay, so onwards to episode 4, we have the we have the cliffhanger where he realizes that he's let in a shape-shifting alien, which is mad because like it's hard for me. What's good about doing this podcast is that I can watch it and I think about you guys watching it, which makes me see it from a slightly different angle. But when you know the ending, it's hard to remember when the reveals have happened. So like again, like the thing I love about this story is that, you know, episode 3 was about Ruben kicking about being a zombie and we're not sure why, and then episode 4 is like he's a shape-shifting sweetie.
Yeah.
And so like episode 4, it's just like the thing talks, we see it moving about, and so it's like kicked up a gear again.
I did like that model shot of the thing climbing up the lighthouse.
Yeah.
Like that had big Fraggle Rock energy. That I like that a lot.
Also, episode 4 has the great shot where the Doctor's hanging from the window ledge.
Yeah,
which they would have CSO'd in, I guess.
I liked that.
No,
a
he
bit.
did it.
Well, when he was climbing in, I really liked how much they lingered on how hard that would be.
Yeah.
He was really like, and there's a bit where you can see in his face going, "Jesus, I might fall." For such a, but it was great.
What is nice about these kind of productions is for moments like that, where as well when the diamonds are being looked for, and that shot just goes on for ages, and it is just a guy groping around a body, and eventually finding
body belt.
It's just, and you think like, you know, that would be so tackled so much swifter now.
Yeah.
But then you kind of go, well, I suppose what I'm seeing is what that really would be like. So there is a realism to, I suppose you would just have to kind
a bit of much needed realism.
Yeah, there was actual tension when he's rummaging through the guy's shirt and he's shouting body belt at him. And I was thinking, where would that actually be? What's a body belt? And then he starts like digging down and then cutting back to the Rutan, you know, kind of barely getting up the step. But it was still like, I mean, he's probably only 2 steps away, but that's still really close.
Yet still we have ages, so it's fine.
And it had the same effect as, you know, any shot of someone trying to get the right key. But like it was amped up because the thing was taking about an hour to get.
My only note for episode 4 is the Doctor's pockets, because the Doctor says, like, you know, get all the stuff that's in my pockets. They're loading up the little cannon with everything everyone has in their pockets. Would you like to put your hand in Tom Baker's pockets?
Oh, that loose back
straight in.
Yeah. Just at the conventions, I don't know how much he charged for that.
Sorry, to go back to the Rutan thing, it's one of those things that's like, again, when you look at old stuff like this and you're like, God, that's a wee bit ropey, but at the same time they kind of acknowledge that in the fact that nobody takes it, like the Doctor and Leela do not take it seriously in any way, which is a lot of fun, especially the Doctor, because he just takes the piss out of him.
Yeah, I did like that. Like it was, and the camera angles really sell that as well. In that you're looking down at this thing that's like the step in front of it is obscuring most of it. But But then cutting back to the Doctor, it's one of the most extreme upshots. Like he's looking down and it's just like great fire.
Now I remember Reuben the Rutan.
You know our form?
Well, when you've seen one Rutan, you've seen them all.
We are a Rutan scout. We are specially trained in the new metamorphosis techniques.
Well, I expect you'll get better at it in time.
Before we move on from the Rutans,
Uh-huh.
would anyone like to hear my Rutan fact file?
Yeah,
of
go
course,
for it.
yeah.
Okay. These are all taken from Doctor Who magazine number 193, which, as you well know, Richie, was released on the 25th of November 1992. It came with a free poster and a Rutan fact file.
What number is it? Because I could literally look it up right now to see if you're lying.
Number 100. No, you can look at 193, 25th of November 1992, and you'll see up in the top corner, free poster.
193.
Tell me, does it come with a free poster?
The Sontarans are back. Behind the scenes
Yep.
Android Division. What is real, Doctor? Oh, top right, free poster. Sorry, Friday.
poster,
sorry,
top
25th
right.
of November. 90. No, okay, got you. 1992. Sorry.
Okay, so now that now that all the doubt has been expunged, can I give you the Rutan fact file from that Doctor Who magazine?
No.
Yes, please.
Okay, so first of all, where the Rutans got their name, it's nature spelled backwards and with the E removed. Try it yourself. Write it down.
Write it out myself. Oh no, it does.
Oh, and I hope that's true because that is a great piece of trivia.
Okay, number 2. The Rutans have not appeared on screen in any episode featuring their rivals, the Sontarans.
The Sontarans, yeah.
I love the Centarian.
Well, they.
Rutan fact number 3. Rutan is an anagram of unrat, which is French for rat.
We need the gash cast.
Nature rat.
And finally, on the Rutan fact file number 4, Leela was played by Louise Jameson, who is married to David Warwick, who was another Doctor Who actor. Both are huge fans of the show, and together they have had 2 children, both of which are named Rutan.
That's good. Cool.
That's the Rutan fact file from Doctor Who magazine number 193, released 25th of November 1992, which, as we all now know, is true and came with a free poster.
I wonder what the poster
I've been
was.
trying this entire time to find it's a Centarian poster, but I found this one and it's like they've got the poster showing the condition of the poster, but they folded it over so you can't see what the poster looks like.
Right, so we're on episode.
Sorry, just to go back to Doctor Who 193, free poster. Roy Castle is in it.
Oh, yeah, Roy Castle was in the second Dalek movie.
What is real Doctor Who? The Return of Controversy Corner.
How long was Controversy Corner gone? Like one episode. I'd say that was a controversy in itself. Where's the Controversy Corner? I have controversies.
Of course, 1992 is a time in Doctor Who when everyone's like, "Why is it not on the tele? When is it coming back? News
Bring
happened.
back Doctor Who so I can complain about it every fucking week."
Exactly.
Every fucking week.
Does anyone know what he was on about when he was talking about an early Shimerly? Because I could not figure out what he was on about. He says
it sounds like an Irish thing.
What?
Gavin, you and I
Shimerly?
both know the Doctor would never acknowledge the Irish people.
No, God, no. Not with his great friends with Churchill.
Has there been a Doctor Who that in any way acknowledged the existence of the Emerald Isle?
Not in a way you'd like.
The time was the one we watched. Remember? had the whole how the Doctor's repressed memory was like turned into a story about an Irish
Of course, the Doctor's
policeman.
repressed memory was I went for a weekend in Dublin.
They dragged the Dublin City Comics.
They had this drink. They actually called the drink a car bomb. I think it was in very poor taste.
Is it not like on the Doctor on the TARDIS holodeck? Does he not have like an Irish village that he goes to quite a lot?
He goes into this very quaint little Irish village and has car bombs, which is Gavin, you'll know it's a fat frog. You know the drink of fat frog, which you make with like Blue Wicked, Smirnoff Ice, and Bacardi Breezer mixed together, and then you drop a shot of Jägermeister into it.
Yep. So, and it's called a car bomb, is it?
And it's called a car bomb.
Oh,
a car's bomb.
I mean, there's quite a lot going on in that glass, is there?
Yeah, I don't think I would be able to handle too many of those.
Sean, I know that by the time you got to episode 4, you had to watch it on Daily Motion, where it had a banner.
It was about
said Doctor Who on it.
It said the year. It said 4th Doctor, and then it said the name of the episode, and that took about 60% of the screen. And then I watched the episode was in a tiny square at the top that was flipped, so all of the locations I'd previously seen were just the other way around.
Right.
So,
but that's what it was like watching television in 1977.
Yeah.
With your
4th Doctor,
with your big homemade banner around the telly. Fourth Doctor.
It was a cutout that came with the radio time.
Yeah, I just put it over the top
into your television.
Oh dear.
It was funny.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on. We get the sort of haphazard kind of diamond in the lighthouse turning the light. I really like the idea of turning the fucking lighthouse into a big laser cannon.
That was I was very excited when they started talking about that as an idea.
If only we had some diamonds, or where are we going to get diamonds from?
It was playing out in my head a bit differently, but it was still a cool.
I did notice you choosing your words very carefully. Oh, I loved when they proposed that.
the shot's not too bad when it happens.
I know they've got limited special effects capabilities, but you do hope that the lighthouse is going to shoot a laser that's going to take out a ship. Might be better than blip.
The shot is quite. I know it's on screen for like a second, but it does like.
It does what?
It's.
See, Sean, this is your first time on the show, so this is what it's really about.
I thought I was blind. I thought I was blind after I saw it, but then I just opened my eyes.
So here's another story for you. That whole idea came from the fact that the contact lenses that Louise Jameson was wearing were hurting her eyes, and she was like, look, I don't want to wear these anymore. So they wrote in a whole bit at the end where the explosion changes the colour of her eyes, so she doesn't need to wear the contacts anymore.
Well,
what colour were the contacts?
They were brown. They were brown. Just give her brown eyes. Yeah.
It's a bit weird, isn't it, when you think about it? Like the idea, like we're going to give you brown eyes, and you're like, well, does it really matter what colour my eyes are in the show? Like, yeah, but wear these uncomfortable lenses to make them brown.
Like, I was like, oh, did she have like red? Did she have like golden eyes or some sort of alien thing? No, she had brown eyes.
Golden eyes.
Like, I'm sorry, but
golden eyes.
Your eyes don't show up on film. We're gonna have to put some. Just like
we have to make another.
Your brown eyes won't show, or sorry, your blue eyes won't show in the blue screen that we use.
Yeah, they're so blue. They're so blue.
Yeah.
Apparently,
it's also brown screen, which is even better.
According to the TARDIS wiki fandom thing, many humans in Doctor Who history have mistakenly assumed Gallifrey was a place in Ireland.
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah, that's a thing. It's kind of an ongoing thing where they're like, when he says he's from Gallifrey, someone will be like, is that in Ireland?
That is such a shite British joke.
That's a dig, man. That's a proper dig at the Irish people.
Are you going to take that? You're going to...
I will, because I'm going to be the better man. I'll just blow up a building.
So
another car bomb.
So a laser shoots out the lighthouse. There's an explosion, and then they and then it's all over, and they get back in the TARDIS, and Tom Baker tells that little poem that the whole show's based on, and then you see the little model. I really like that little model shot of the good thing about old Doctor Who model shots compared to, like, say, an American show's model shots is it makes you realise that the models in American shows are really big.
Yeah.
Whereas Doctor Who
this
really
looked like
are
it was like in a shoebox. You looked in through a hole in a shoebox.
Someone won a competition with their Doctor Who diorama.
right, we're going to use that. Can we borrow 192? Can we borrow that?
Whoa, this could be a show.
Bitchin' model.
Order some vampire props right now.
So
wait till you see this asshole's model.
The episode ends. Sean, what are you feeling?
I mean,
you can be just be honest. It's fine.
I had forgotten how much I was enjoying it because I just felt so bad for that last, just the last guy that got killed. Mm-hmm. Just him. I was just for the whole thing going. I feel it looked like the Doctor set that up so that he would definitely get killed by the Rutan.
Because he knew if there was one guy, if he knew if there was one guy left, he'd have to give him a lift.
Yeah, and then through that whole end bit, like even when he's giving the speech, I was just going like, this fucking guy just murdered that man and left.
Yeah, there's no two ways about it.
Yeah,
he laid a trap for that man.
And I was also just laughing at like just the classic how slow the guy went. No, don't kill me. No, don't kill me. No.
There's a great bit in I think it's episode 3 maybe, but when they're all in the room with Zombie Reuben, and because Zombie Reuben moves quite slowly, you know there's not going to be a big action scene where he grabs someone and kills them. So what they do is they cut to a scene up in the top of the lighthouse, and then they cut back and Reuben's already got his hand on the woman's head. It's like, right, there we go.
That was the one that got me as well. Yeah, I thought that was
because like all I was thinking when he came in and there's a table, like every time one of these scenes happens there's a table in the middle of the room, I think of what I would do playing Resident Evil, and that would be run around the table.
Yeah.
While the thing follows me.
I found that bit jarring, but like I thought she had teleported somehow, or that he had jumped over and that there was a sound effect missing or something like that.
Maybe he did.
That's what happened.
That's what happened.
Maybe he did. Yeah. Drop it.
No, I enjoyed the episode a lot, the 4 episodes a lot, and but it was just funny because it was just I had just watched it as this thing, as its own thing. Mm-hmm. I was so attached to
the characters,
supporting characters,
that
I was just left going like, this fucking guy's just walked in and just doesn't care about them at all and has left. So for the whole final 5 minutes I was a little bit checked out, just going like, they're just gone.
I can't believe they're gone.
Yeah. There's definitely, like as I said earlier, my friends who are into it, and I was like, wouldn't it be slightly interesting to see we haven't heard from the lighthouse in a while, it cuts to a week later and someone comes and finds like the dead bodies. Would that not be a slightly interesting way to end, like, how did this happen? and end it on that, rather than them just going,
who did this?
Let's get out of here, man. Off they go.
I think you do need to know about that story for you to feel like, oh, I see what they've done.
Yeah.
Because without the knowledge of that story, it just feels like, oh.
But I mean,
there should be. It feels like there should be one person who is, at least that you can say, like, you know, you make it back and, you know, tell someone.
Tell nobody.
Or, yeah, even that, like, you know, don't tell. But just if one person was still alive, you could see that as the small win.
But no.
But it is improved by knowing.
It could have been. The young guy survived. The young fisherman survived, and he's off when he's old telling tales about this fisherman tale about Doctor Who.
And everyone's saying, "Shut up!"
Yeah,
he saved me, and his name was Doctor Who.
with a big pipe in his mouth.
He walked in. He said, "I'm Doctor Who. I've got 3 hearts, and I know what to do."
God save the bloody Queen. Would you like a jelly baby?
Put your hand in my pocket.
Put your hand in my pocket. Would you like a jelly baby?
Jelly baby.
Would you like a jelly baby?
I mean,
but I liked it.
Yeah, I think I like the fact that everyone dies. I think there's a like, I think I quite like just how, I don't know. I mean, it is very horror-y, isn't it?
I mean, yeah, certainly some of the best horrors end on a bleak note. The Wicker Man, for example. Yeah, it's not a bad thing to end on a bleak note. It's just a bit weird for a Saturday night kids show for babies.
It's not. I mean, it isn't weird for kids. A kid show.
It's not a fucking kid show for babies.
I'm not doing it. I was going to say it's not weird for a kid show because kids love that shit. Like, yes, everyone died. You know? I'm going to drink a strawberry yop.
And pretend it is blood. And
then put the lid back on and then squeeze it so the lid goes.
Clean that up.
Richie?
Yeah.
Are we going to get to the end of this whole podcast without mentioning the Max Headroom incident?
I was just about to mention the Max Headroom incident.
He wasn't. He forgot.
I was. I mean, it's quite.
You should have the podcast interrupted by Max Headroom.
Someone. Do you know?
Well,
Sean, have you come across this story about an American public broadcasting service channel? The TV signal being hijacked and replaced with footage of a man dressed like Max Headroom doing like some weird, just shouting some weird stuff, and then it cuts. Does it cut to like him being spanked?
Richie, you need to explain all these elements.
Yeah,
so much.
I remember Sean is 19 years old.
Okay, hold on.
I spotted about 5 things in that I'd be like, what?
Sean, do you know what Max Headroom is?
No, absolutely not.
It was co-created by one of the directors of the Super Mario movie.
Richie, don't.
I know. Sorry. Anyway,
Mario.
Max, do you know? Right? Do you know in Back to the Future 2?
It's not like Wario's.
No, look.
Rival.
Do you know in Back to the Future 2 when he goes into the 80s and goes into Cafe 80s?
Yeah.
And do you know how when he goes up to the menu and there's like weird plastic people kind of talking?
Yeah.
Well, Max Headroom looked like that, except it was a character called Max Headroom and he had plastic kind of blonde hair and the glasses. I can't really remember much about it, to be honest with you. But anyway, so in America, Doctor Who was on public broadcasting system or whatever it is they called it. It was on, like old Doctor Who was on all the time. And during a transmission of Horror of Fang Rock, somebody hijacked the signal and replaced it with a video that they'd created. But because the tech to do it is so ropey and because it's analog, it's really horrible and distorted and it is extremely sinister, which makes it really kind of cool. but it's obviously just someone just fannying about. But someone appears with this kind of Max Headroom mask on, and he's got a really distorted voice because the transmission's not working terribly well, and he's just going off on one about like kind of corporate America and all that sort of stuff. But then it like
hacking telly
is
like so awesome.
It's the coolest
brilliant,
thing ever.
isn't it? It's like I've managed to do. It's like I've managed to do a comic book thing. I'm the Joker now.
It's because it's analog as well,
I know.
and just horrible.
But I'm assuming because it's analog and it's probably fizzling in and out, is it slightly layering over the episode every now and just?
Well, no, it just so it, like when it stops, it just cuts right back into Horror of Fang Rock.
That sounds fucking hellish. I'm actually like thinking about how I would feel watching that.
If you because Horror of Fang Rock is so quiet and so cozy and so slow that this horrible nightmarish and fizzing analog of like overexposure and color and like the shout. There's all this shouting and you can't really like you can't tell what's being said.
I'm having nightmares right now thinking about my biggest like fear is the idea of just a thing appearing in front of you that you can't, like if you close your eyes you can't unsee it, and that's just
I mean, it's not when you see it, it's not as bad. Like it's always in those like top 10 scary moments on TV kind of deal. Like Chills, YouTube sensation Chills has done it like 10 times. It's came up on his channel because it is very unsettling.
It's a brilliant. I guess.
Oh my god, Max Headroom's horrible.
Yeah. That resigned. Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Just
the idea of it being that is just even worse.
Gentlemen, I've got news for you. This lighthouse is under attack, and by morning we might all be dead. Anyone interested?
Well, okay, so you enjoyed it then?
Yeah.
I was unsure. I got really nervous about giving you an old one for some reason. Not that I don't think you have the attention span or anything, but I just...
No, I really liked it. It was good.
It'll be a nice little break.
I want to see another Doctor Who exactly like that, though. Now,
oh, you're in luck.
Not interested.
Shit, they're all the fucking same, mate. You'll be fine.
Well, Sean, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for tailoring that episode specifically to everything I said in my answers. It was really like Better Call Saul
and Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the lighthouse laser thing is kind of like the big sniper rifle.
The lighthouse laser is quite anime, actually, isn't it?
It is. That's why I was saying the idea of it, like,
we're going to use the lighthouse to kill the Rutans.
It would do that thing where it would shoot into the clouds, and the clouds would like split apart. It'd be so good. We should remake that episode. Yeah.
Would it be okay for me to give Sean a recommendation for a episode of Doctor Who to watch, or a story?
Sure, I'm looking forward to hearing what the recommendation is.
There's two moments that are great in Doctor Who. One is the episode where, of course, Mickey Smith is kidnapped by the Autons. But I would say greatest show in the galaxy is easily my favourite so far, and it's I think you genuinely enjoy it.
I'm just mostly watching Owen and Richie for this whole.
No, don't look at turn the cameras off. Write down greatest show. That's SHOW.
I mean, the clue's in the name.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to argue with a name like that. It's very good.
Would you name a bad episode of a show the greatest show in the galaxy? I mean, you'd be asking for trouble.
Yes, there we go. See it on the note post. In the galaxy.
I mean, it sounds really good. It sounds great.
There's lots to love in it. There's a barbarian biker guy who eats a sandwich out of a little thing in his bike. It's really good.
You remember Greatest Show in the Galaxy better than I do, you know that?
Yeah, because it's bloody great television, man.
I'll agree with Gavin. There is a lot in that episode. I'll say, Richie, I do think you did well picking my one, because I would say Green Death is probably still far and away my favourite of the ones you've had me watch.
Okay.
I'd say like when you picked Robots of Death for me, I could watch Robots of Death again.
So mine wasn't as good as Owen's one.
Yeah, what we're saying, Richie, is back when you actually did put some thought into it, it was better. The show worked better.
It was the greatest show in the galaxy.
In the galaxy.
In the galaxy.
Would you do another one, Sean?
Just something to think about for the next time.
What's this all about, Doctor?
Survival, Colonel.
Survival?
Yes, yours, mine, all of us.
Oh, this mysterious beast that eats lighthouse keepers.
Do you find that difficult to accept, Colonel?
Oh, come, Doctor, I'm a man of intelligence, of education.
Quite so, and I don't believe in mythical sea creatures either.
Then why do you suggest that we're in danger?
Because somewhere out there is a hostile alien from a distant planet. And I believe it intends to destroy us.
A hostile alien from a distant planet?
Yes.
You call yourself a doctor? Well, that's the most insane suggestion I've heard in my life.
Doctor, I cannot find the cardly one.
I've never been more serious, Colonel. We are facing an enemy of greater power than you can dream of.
I do appreciate the scientific romances of Mr. Wells,
Listen,
Doctor, but...
Herbert may have a few unimportant facts wrong, but his basic supposition is sound enough.
Doctor?
Do you think your little speck in the galaxy is the only one with intelligent life?
Okay, well, again, all of you, thank you very much for coming along. I urge anyone listening that doesn't know who any of us are, go and look up Studio Mala.
Yes. Oh,
hey!
They're made with their. Sean has done some incredible work over the years, and I'm in constant awe of his abilities. And also check out my pals here, Gesh Gav, who is an incredible artist, and I'm going to just say your Twitter name, Mecha Gamezilla, who does the best YouTube videos in the world. So
it's true.
Richie, if you have any fans with loads of money, just tell them to like become sort of patron towards us making like an animated remake, start to finish, of Horror of Fang Rock, and we can make the Rutan look whatever we want.
Yeah, we change it to look good.
Mad tall.
I'm going to book like a 3-second shot of that, just so that I can put that border from Daily Motion on my animation. Do a tiny animation right in the middle of the screen.
Same as money if it's 400 by 300 is the aspect ratio for the.
Somebody must have done some good fan art of a fucking lighthouse shooting a spaceship. Surely.
I'm going to look for Doctor.
There's plenty of fan art of Rutans.
John, imagine it, right? You do the Horror of Fang Rock reanimated, but when it gets to the lighthouse bit, that's when you go off script and turn it into the most bombastic studio trigger. Like the shot from it, it's like it turns the world to daytime because it's so bright for a moment, and the lighthouse itself is destroyed in the blast. Well, and you can see the bodies.
This episode is totally doing that anime thing of like, you know, everyone talking about what a dire situation they're in, and just cutting to him being like, you know, doing the shoulder laugh. And throwing a load of diamonds at you.
Oh, and an extreme close-up, like Aeon Flux style, of Leela's eyes, and the brown eyes being blasted away to blue.
Well, again, thank you, boys, and hopefully we can do this again. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Richie.
Bye.
Thank you, Richie.
Bye. I love you.
Sean, what do you give Horror of Fang Rock out of 10, quick?
7.
Cool, good. That's good enough.
3 hearts.
No, the episode's over. You've done this.
Either we're hunted high and low, and hunted everywhere.
What?
The Ballad of Flannan Isle by Wilfred Gibson.
Who?
Wilfred Gibson. Either we're hunted high and low, and hunted everywhere. The 3 men's fate. We found no trace. In any time, in any place. But a door ajar and an untouched meal, and an over-toppled chair.